What's up, long players? Welcome to the Long Play Listening Party, the show where we go deep on local music, writing, recording, inspiration, gear, whatever else sounds good to us. I'm Howie Howard from Mr. Furious Records. We got the whole crew here. Nate, what's up?
What's up, everyone?
Royce Diamond, how you feeling?
I'm feeling great.
And welcome our guest tonight, Nezbeat, to talk about With Flying Colors. How's it going, Nez?
Oh, fantastic, man. Just checking this mic real quick. 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, cool. We're a little hot. All right.
No worries. Keep rolling. You're joining us from San Francisco, but you've got Lawrence connections.
That's true. I hail from Kansas, Manhattan. That's where I grew up. I spent my 20s in Lawrence, fortunately, and I moved there like for college when I was like 18 in 1999, I want to say, or 2000. I guess it was probably more like late 99, but yeah. And I spent like 10 years or so there, and then moved out to Cali like 2011-ish.
And when did you start making music?
I've been making music my whole life. I started out playing drums when I was like, old enough to hold some spoons or whatever like that. And I progressed into actually getting drums when I was young. My parents were like always really supportive. Like I had a piano in my house growing up, so I was lucky to just always be around instruments. Like my parents were really musical people, both played instruments, so yeah, man, always around music. That was the vibe in my house. Just hella vinyl all the time.
It's a funny story. I actually lived, when I was in college, I lived with your brother, Al, and he would always talk about, because I think you were in high school at the time, and he was always talking about how all the music that you were making.
Yeah, dude, in high school was the most fun, or the 20 when we were in our 20s. But yeah, I grew up with Isaac Deal. He was he was my neighbor when we were like barely old enough to talk, and so I've known him my whole life. And like then like throughout the years, just like kind of like knew of him. And then when we re-emerged as like friends, it was like middle school, because all of the kids that were like in 7th and 8th grade all were in the same building, and so like him and all my friends were older than me. But once we like got in the same school, it was on. That's like all we did was just like started like putting it together. That I started making beats, like getting drum machines and shit, and we just kind of added it up. And we're like, all right, well, he was always like a sick lyricist, like always writing poetry. Like our whole lives, he was a writer. So, but it just kind of like naturally worked like that. How it does sometimes. Like I was just lucky to be like able to know someone like to bounce ideas off of at that young of an age. It was a special thing. But yeah, man. And then from like I was playing drums up until I started finding out about electronic music, like how they started, like hip hop was a big influence, and just trying to figure out how they made those beats. And then I was getting into like drum and bass and shit around the same time, because one of my best friend's brothers was like really into the shit happening like early 90s, and that was like a whole different electronic like element. And I was like, how the fuck are they making these beats? Like what is it? Like, is it like computers? Is it samplers? And eventually I figured it out, but it took me high school basically. We were just like, how the fuck, just experimenting just with different
What synth
shit.
did you have? Did you have a synth at the time?
Well, originally I had like a DR5 Boss like drum machine.
Okay.
And then I lucked out and got like hooked up one of my homies, Adrian the Misfit. Shout out Adrian. He's a sick MC beat maker, and he at the time had this like Insonic keyboard when we were like sophomores in high school or something. He was like, dude, like I know you're trying to get into sampling and beats, and this thing is like sick, but I just need to sell it. And so he hooked me up, and that rest is history. Like Insonic, that's what I made all this shit on, was like an ASR 10.
Yeah.
Like Insonic changed my life. So
that's super dope.
Insonic, man, that was the shit. EPS 16 Plus was like my first keyboard sampler. And then I made all this shit on an ASR 10 like keyboard version. But yeah.
So we'll probably jump back and forth in time a little bit, but tell us a little bit more about this album that we're starting to hear right now with Flying Colors.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm gonna turn my speakers down, headphones up. Okay, cool. GPS connection. Okay, say that again.
I was just asking, we started kind of going all the way back, and we'll probably jump back and forth in time, but tell us a little bit about this album with Flying Colors.
Okay, well, it was just like one of those Lawrence situations where I was like friends with like our friend David Jarrett. Like he was like the dude that kind of like helped me bring this album to fruition. Jarrett Fulton, like he owned this place, Mixtape Sound Labs. Mixtape Meditation was his like brand, and basically like we started playing music together through like the band Archetype that me and Isaac started, and then like during that time I was writing all these love songs and didn't really know how to express it. Like I wasn't really a singer, I was more like a MC, lyricist, beat maker, and he just like kind of gave me, like I just experimented a lot in my bedroom with different like vocal stylings and shit. But I think it was just like a lot of the stuff that me and him and like Isaac and that crew, like Nate, you were around, and like just like the Radiohead, like kind of like Bjork era of like, it was like where like trip hop and rock and like hip hop and like electronic was all like kind of coming together at that time, like in the late 90s and early 2000s is kind of when I started like experimenting with vocal styles. But like 2000, it was like probably like mid 2000s when I started kind of fucking with singing, and I was like making all these beats that we couldn't really rap to, and I was just like, well, fuck, I'm just gonna like sing over this shit, So it was just like emotionally whatever I was going through with like my girlfriend at the time and whatever other shit, like being like a young 20-year-old kid, it's like I need to emote this shit somehow. So I'll just figure out some of these more experimental beats, kind of like inspired by like a Bjork type Radiohead kind of vibe. Like we were just like experimenting a lot. Like I was at that time starting this other band, like aside from Archetype, we were like experimenting with this thing called Blackout Gorgeous. Blackout Gorgeous was like another band from like the mid 2000s that just we never really got like our time to shine. Like we did a bunch of shows and shit, and like Nate played with us probably a few times. Like Jarrett from Archetype was our drummer for a minute, and like so that really also like helped kick me into like vocal singing gear, I guess, because I was the lead singer of that band was this like opera singer named Erin Keller, and she was like in the Kansas City Chorale, and she was just sick ass singer, like classically trained, and so I learned a lot just being in that band, and like singing next to her was like it just really like something to behold, because she was so powerful in her vocal range, and I was just like being in that band was like, damn, I can sing, like I was always like singing backups and shit. I was like, fuck it, like I might as well just start trying to experiment, with some of the shit that we were doing like at that time. So I was kind of taking it into my own realm, It was just that early, like fucking experimentation phase, you know. It's like, how do I get these feelings out, like in like a cool way, you know? Like some things, like I guess like in hip hop, there's a very much like bravado vibe, and that's fine. Like hip hop was like born from the parks and born from like battles and shit, and like in my 20s I just had, like we all do, we had like all these different emotions going on, and I was just like trying to figure out how to emote like through music and like kind of put people in, maybe make them understand, or like maybe I could like help them through some shit, because I was like dealing with a bunch of, you know, just like young love kind of stuff. So like I guess it just came out that way, you know.
And my memory is very hazy, especially like that far back around that time. But
you were doing the DJ not a DJ shit at that time.
Oh yeah, of course.
That was another band that really inspired me, like you and Jarrett and Dash's shit, because they, you know, you guys were doing more of the electronic, like dubs, or not. That was not dubstep. That was like drum and bass vibes, and like pre-dubstep, but like basically like it was just like the sickest live electronic shit I'd ever heard, and that kind of made me rethink how I was making beats too, because I was like, these guys are doing like 160 BPM like live shit. I was like, what the fuck? Like, I was like, you know, like how do I produce that? How do I make something like that, like as like a producer, DJ? You know? Like we were just lucky, surrounded by so many different, really talented, versatile musicians that were like producing all these different styles, so it kind of opened my brain, like not like breaking out of genres, you know. I grew up such like a hip hop head. I was like, oh, fuck that, fuck this. But then like in my 20s I was like, oh, it's all the same shit. It's all just like, it all just comes from like black, you know, history, like American black music. Like that's what it was that I was tapping into at a young age. Like my dad and my mom both had like amazing records, and like once I started realizing like it's all the same shit, it all just comes from like struggle and strife in America. Like I was like, oh shit, it doesn't really matter. You can't really put a fucking label on music. That's just something people do to like sell it, you know. Like it's just like, there's no real like genres. It's all just like, it all comes from like modern America struggle, I guess, you know. So
well, yeah, I was just gonna say that the singing on it, you know, it's primarily like you singing, and yeah. I you know, remember that being you know, what people knew you for, like primarily.
Yeah, that's true. I was known as like the beat maker rapper from Archetype, and that was before, I mean, that was like, I guess right when we started like kind of melding the live in with, because me and Isaac used to just perform, the two of us. Like I would have like my Insonic ASR playing beats off that, and like off mixing it with like a CD player, so like there'd never be any like dead time. But like we were just like a hip hop duo, and then got Jarrett and some other people involved, and we're like starting to get into live shit. And that's kind of when I started experimenting with like different vocal stylings. Like we had,
well, yeah, dude, I fucking love it, dude.
Thanks. Yeah, no one even knew we were making this shit. We were just doing it on the side. Like at night, we would go in there and just come up with this.
Right.
I'd have like a beat and like a rough lyrical idea, and then Jarrett would have his input, and we would just kind of go from there. Or I would have like recorded the whole song, and then I'd take it to him at night. We would just like kind of like flush it out, and he would add his 2 cents on whatever. Like he plays every instrument too, so we would just kind of like bounce ideas around. And or I would have vocals already recorded, and then he'd be like, dude, do this. and we'd redo it at the studio on like way sicker mics, you know. Like,
yeah, like this is some crazy shit. These drums.
Oh yeah, he did this like kind of in response to what I had this weird sample drum that you can kind of hear in the beginning.
Yeah.
And it's like got this offbeat kind of thing, like a flam kind of beat. And I was like, oh, please match that. Let's make it like huge. And so yeah, we just mic'd the room, and he just like went the fuck off. Like it was just like this kind of like, fuck this. It's all about like war at the time, like. The Bush era, I guess, which it always applies because we're fucking, you know, we're just a society that's always fucking over poor people and shit. So it's crazy to listen to because it always kind of still, all this shit rings true now, and it did then, and it did all the time in between when we made it and when it came out. Like, that's kind of crazy. It's like all still kind of relevant. Like we're still in this fucking weird fucked up war and shit. It's like what the fuck? But anyway, this song was like one of the more dark, serious songs. But it all stemmed from this beat that I made. That was all backwards. Like I flipped all the samples around, and it's all like in reverse. So the song's cool because. Like at the time I was like watching a lot of David Lynch, and he did a lot of reverse like filming. You know, he would like chop shit backwards, or he would film it like and flip the film around and it'd be in reverse like when you watched it. And then like the audio, he would like match. I don't know, it's hard to explain, but basically like I went through for that song and I matched all the backwards notes. Like I flipped the sample back forward and I learned them forward, and then I flipped it back around and I learned them backwards, and so I layered it like with backwards vocals and like forwards vocals with the same like notes. It was fucked up, but like we were just doing weird shit with that like time and like, because that was like when you could really fuck with reversing and chopping. Like we were just learning like, or me personally, like I just started getting the computer shit, and I was like, oh my god, I could do like some David Lynch shit. So I learned like all the harmonies like backwards, and then like flipped it and learned all the syllables. So in the beginning of that last one, it says living nightmare backwards. I like learned how to say the syllables backwards and then flipped it around. So like it actually sounds kind of like it's saying living nightmare. That's like the name of the song. Anyway, that was just like some nerd shit. I was like, how do I do that David Lynch shit where he talks backwards, and it's like trippy, but he talks about it in some of his like documentary series. But I was like way into Lynch at that time.
Yeah.
So that's like where that came from. But yeah, man, we were on some shit. This is the one you're on, Nate. This is one of my favorites from this record. It's like coming, it's still like on that dark vibe. But yeah.
This is Kamikaze.
Kamikaze, yeah. Yeah, this was like full on like breakup song, but I still wanted it to like bump, you know? I wanted to be able to kind of feel it like a 9 Inch Nails track, you know? I wanted it to just be like fucking dagger in the heart. So, and I was probably listening to a lot of like 9 Inch Nails and shit like that at the time. So I could see that, but yeah, I like all your pretty keys that you added. It makes it all like whimsical, even though it's like super like kind of like sinister sounding. Yeah, Kamikaze, come and blow you away. Spirit wind, which is what Kamikaze means spirit wind in Japanese, and it's just all about like Karma. Actually, when I wrote it Karma Kazi, because it was all about like how you treat people, you know, like. So it was like I was like having like self-reflection, like, damn, was I okay? Did I do that okay? Or you know, just like when you're learning how to like fucking navigate relationships and shit. Like, as a kid, I was like, did I fuck that person over? I don't know. But, I mean, I probably did. Like I was just like a dumb ass, like fucking kid. I don't know what the fuck I was doing. So I apologize to all my exes. I swear I'm a better person now. but yeah, this song was like definitely like the darkest of some of the shit I was writing. I was just like full on like heartbroken, you know. But yeah, that's what it's all about. You know, just like living and learning. I learned so much from recording these records. I guess I've never really.
Yeah, you have a list of all the players on the record.
Yeah, there's so many. You're, I think, the only one on this song. There's
generally like. Well, there's okay. Yeah, so that gives you an idea of some of the live stuff that was played. I was gonna ask about that. So.
Yeah, I mean, like Dash and you,
right.
You're on this song. Jarrett's on a lot of the shit. He plays like on a lot of drums and guitar parts and shit, just like filling in, doing
right.
like ambient stuff. And then, like, dude, between the two records, Cool, Fire Control, and this one with Flying Colors, we kind of made it all at the same time.
And all of this is like 2005-ish?
I guess it'd be a little later. Like, I was 20-something. I was probably like 2000. Yeah, it was probably like 2006 to like 2008 or something. That when we were like mixtape, like making a bunch of Archetype shit. We were playing all these Archetype shows at the same time, playing all these Blackout Gorgeous shows, and in between me and Jarrett were recording all this shit just for fun, because he just got all his studio shit set up. We were like, so we were just making as much music as we could. Like, we did a bunch of remixes at the time, and we were just like, fuck it, let's just keep recording. So we were just experimenting, you know. At the time, he had all this space, and like all the time, we had all the time in the fucking world. Like,
yeah,
it's not like now. Like, we were like 20, and we had our dream, and he had just got this fucking sick space. So we were just like, let's go. Like, every night we were just down there, like, just like fucking making weird shit, you know. So that's what pretty much this was all, just like experimental, like lyricism. Like, okay, I'm not gonna rap this shit, so how the fuck can we pull this shit off and make it sound sick?
There's stuff you could record made at his place, man.
So what was his place like? Like, what was the gear? What was the setup?
Oh, Mixtape was like upstairs above the Bottleneck, downtown Lawrence. So it was centrally located, like in this perfect space where we could go to after the bars. Like, it was literally right across the street from the tap room, like 8th Street tap room, and like right upstairs from the Bottleneck. So like, if we weren't watching a show at one of the two places, like, you know, we'd just be an earshot away, and then we'd like, after the bars or after whatever shows, we would just come back there and just like record, you know, like I felt like it was like every night or like every other night we'd just be up there. So it was just one of those.
What was the setup of the gear though, like in the room?
Oh shit, I'm gonna say, dude, this
like,
is where
it was that Trident
like,
console that like
we need Jarrett for this conversation about technical shit, but yeah, he's the one that actually like spent his money and invested in the gear. It was like an SSL or some really nice.
It was a Trident. I think it was a Trident console.
Oh yeah, it's Trident. I was thinking it was an SSL. But yeah, It was a Trident, which was,
and that's like as technical as I'm gonna get right now.
That's like what the fucking that's like what the Rolling Stones.
It was legit, man. It was a
lot of really amazing records have been made on that board, on that specific board, but on Tridents in general. And but yeah, he just had like the sickest setup, and it was like an upstairs kind of like attic space, but like it was so long, like it didn't really feel claustrophobic. It was just it was like the whole like width of the block, basically. It was like this long ass building that went all the way back to the alley, and it was just like a magical little place. He had like a B and an A studio, and there was like a kitchen up there, and like he had it all like acoustic, like the acoustics were sick in there. Like he spent a lot of time, like him and like all the engineers, like Ben and Aaron and all the cats that were working up there as engineers, really, you know, helped dial it all in. And it was just like it just sounded great. Like they had like the sickest monitor situation. Like they had the Yamaha, like the white Yamahas, and then they had like
NS10s.
The NS10s, and they had a couple of different like 3 different monitor systems, so we could like blast shit too, because we were above a venue. Like there was nothing around. Like it was so sick, you know. We were just like lucky as fuck. Like
they had some decent hardware too. That Jared would have.
That's like where we would all
be able to tell you what it was,
too.
but like
we'd be like,
man, it was
rehearsal space for like every band, like DJ Not DJ, Archetype, Blackout Gorgeous, like everyone we knew practiced up there. Like it was like, and so it was always sick musicians everywhere. Like we'll just grab someone, like, dude, come play this fucking guitar part. You know, like we need your licks. You know, grab someone from the bottleneck, just like bring them upstairs.
That's what's up.
I remember like we had Cliff at the time. He was the
yeah, I was gonna say,
but yeah, he was.
This song is super dope, man.
But yeah, we had people like the Flaming Lips drummer was our homie. He like came up there one night and we had like a drum off. It was like him and Dash and Jarrett, and I was just like, they're all like amazing drummers, and like shit like that would go off like after shows and be like, oh fucking whatever, like Tech 9 just stopped by, you know, like say what's up and see what was going on. Like, just cool shit, you know, like Tech 9. I remember came by. He was just like had a show at the Granada, and he's like, oh, I want to check you guys out. Like I heard you guys are doing cool shit. And him and Chris Calico, and maybe like one other dude, came up. Like I think we smoked with Chris Calico maybe, and then they just rolled out, and then we went to the tap room and just like we were like ordered. We were just like, that was cool as fuck. Let's go like have a beer and talk. That was crazy. Like they just stopped by randomly, and then we were like, I was like approached, like put me onto like the Tech 9 shit early on, and I was like, dude, that's crazy. They just stopped by. That's so rad. They like heard about it and came up there, and then we got to the bar, and Jarrett was like, Nez, are you fucking with me? And I was like, what? What are you telling me? He was like, dude, did you just put a bill, like, did you put a hundo in my pocket? And I was like, no, I don't have $100 to give you. Like, what are you saying? He was like, dude, I'm pretty sure Tech 9 just slid me a hundo in my pocket, like, when we were, like, giving daps. I was like, shut the fuck up. I mean, because that dude's been paid. Like, he's been a millionaire since we were kids, you know? He's like the biggest hustler I know, and that's saying a lot. Talking to Royce Diamond here, dude, that motherfucker. But that fool gave Jarrett, I swear to God, I'm not making this up, he slid him a $100 bill somehow, and we got to the bar, and Jarrett was like, fucking drinks on me. like Tech 9 just like sprinkled us. He was like, I like what you guys are doing up here, and just bounced to his show. We were like, what? Get out of here. That's sick. But yeah, I think we were recording this shit when that happened. But yeah, back to the music though, man. This song, it was like just about like a mushroom trip that I had with my best girlfriend at the time. We're just like, she lived in this cool part at East Lawrence, and like we had taken some shrooms and we're just like exploring like the parks over there, like in the middle of the night. Like no one was around and we were just like tripping our asses off. And it was like the first time we'd ever tripped, and we like, I wrote like a few songs about that night because we came across this like ravine, and there was like this like kind of like ditch, like water gutter type situation, like along this like forested part of East Lawrence, and now there's like a trail there. I don't even think the gutter, like the ravine thing is there anymore, but dude, there was like, I swear to God, there was like hundreds of thousands of lightning bugs. It was like in the middle of summer, and it was like they must have been spawning or something, and like we were like peeking, and we like came across this bridge, and there was like, it was just lightning bugs for as far as you could see. We were like, holy fucking shit, you know, like it was just one of those moments that's like a once in a lifetime thing, and we happened to be like tripping our faces off. And shout out to Brooke Viella, what's up, babe? But yeah, I wrote a bunch of songs about her and like about that moment specifically, because this was one of them. But yeah, it's like I was like super in love with her, and we like had the coolest night, which turned into like a fucked up night. But I didn't write anything about that. Like some dudes, like some creepy dudes, like were like maybe chasing us, or maybe we were just like tripping, but we swore we were like being followed by these like creepos that were coming from like the strip club out there, like East Lawrence. What was that strip club out there? The Outhouse.
Oh.
I don't know if that shit's still there, but yeah, they used to have the strip club out in like a cornfield.
Not open right now. It's probably
way out. Yeah, but way out East Lawrence, there was this building where there's a strip club, and I never actually went to the club, but before it was a strip club, it used to be a music venue, like back in like the 80s, and all these like epic bands played there and shit. And it's actually like there's like a documentary about it, and like Nirvana played there, all these crazy like punk rock bands played there. But yeah, there was always like weirdos coming from that weird highway. It was like a tiny little dirt road that went up. It was creepy, but yeah, like, it fucked our night up. But like the good part of the night, you know,
alternate album title right there.
That shit, like, before the fucking hillbillies like ruined our high. Yeah, but dude, yeah, this one Dash played drums on, Dash played bass on it, and maybe Jarrett played drums, or maybe Dash played drums too. I can't remember, but it's all a blur. But yeah, so it was just
pedal steel was Jeff Jackson.
Oh yeah, the pedal steel.
Backing vocals by Adrian DeLanda.
No, that's on the different track, but that song has Ryan Wirtz on guitar. He was
which track was that?
Ryan, that was Madam Butterfly. He plays on like a bunch of stuff. Yeah, shout out Ryan Wirtz. He was the one that kind of like I started that band. We started that shit together with him and his cousin and our friend Aaron Keller, and then like it kind of spawned into this album because I was writing all these other songs, and him and Aaron wrote the songs mostly for that shit. So anyway, me and Ryan, like, he plays on a lot of these songs, but he plays he's a wicked guitarist. But yeah, Dree's on this one. Dree sings backups on this. This was a Mama Cass sample originally. Like the I can't follow you, like that's all Mama Cass thing. And then I had Jeff played some pedal steel in it. Made it even more pretty.
That's really nice. When was this mixed?
We put this out, or like initially we finished it probably, when was it? 2000, like probably around the same time we put out the Archetype second album for them, so it was like 2007 or something, probably like finished it. I want to say like most of the final mixes were like done like 2007 or 2008 even, something like that, but it was just something we were kind of sitting on, like I was like, we already accomplished making all this shit. It was just part of like the recording, figuring that studio out and just like working through some like emotions and stuff. And then I was like, this, it's so personal. Like Jarrett was always like pushing me to put it out, and I was just like, I don't know, it's like my diary basically. I don't really feel comfortable like releasing it. It took me a while to be like, actually, like looking back, it's really cool. Like I'd want to listen to this. If I heard it, I'd be like, oh, I still like it, you know. So I was like, fuck it, we should just put it out, just like ourselves. So I just did it solo, just got it all together, got all the artwork. But for a while I was just like, I don't know, maybe I'll just be like some heads shit you can listen to on my SoundCloud or something. But I'm glad I put it out. I'm glad I got it out there eventually. It's like still sounds up to date. Like we were like in the zone, you know.
Oh man, you can't tell, I don't think, when it was recorded. Yeah.
It's really, I mean, a lot of artists, I think, sort of like to imagine they're outside of genre and things, and I actually find genre kind of helpful in a lot of ways. But
I don't know
this
what
album,
this would be though.
You have a real claim to. I have no idea what genre this is. Like, this really is a rare album that meets that claim of like, this is outside of genre. I have no idea what this is. It's delightful. I love it. But it doesn't fit anywhere. And cool, it really truly doesn't. And that's rare. That's really hard to find. It's very cool.
Huh. Really, dude, appreciate that. That means so much to me, because I strive for that. Just like it's just human, you know. It's just human, really. It's just like I'm trying to tap into that, like just that guttural, just that heartfelt shit. Everyone feels like heartbreak, and everyone feels loss, and all, you know. It's like, how do you convey it? Even it's like a lot of lyrical poetry that's more just specifically like. It might just be like some inside shit that no one else will even comprehend, but you can still feel what I'm feeling, like through the vibe of the melody and harmonies, and it's just like it could be lyricless and still. That's what I'm trying to get across. Is like it could be instrumental and still get like across the same feelings, you know. Like lucky for me, I'm a like okay singer, and like I think I'm a pretty good lyricist, so I just like, if you want to dive into the lyrics, like I can, but I think it's more just like it's more of a vibe, you know. Like it's just like, I think it's just like this, like it's just this guttural thing. But yeah, it's basically just like heartbreak music for the most part. But like it was, the challenge was like, all right, how do we make like this heartbreaking shit like feel upbeat? You know, sometimes we'll make it like feel like a dance song, but it'll be like still talk about like the loss of your lover or some shit, but it'll be like feel good, like heartache music. Like it's basically breakup music, like get through some shit. Like get through a loss. It doesn't have to be like a lover, it could be like a friend or whatever, but just trying to get through some loss. I think that's what it was initially. So yeah, this was one of the first ones that I did just on my own. I just kind of wrote all these piano parts and stuff. And it was like stalemate. It was like right when I had split up with my girlfriend, and it was just like stalemate was how I was feeling. I was like, damn, that's a stalemate. Fuck. Like nowhere to go. But then I think Jarrett introduced me to Reason at the time. That's this part right here is it's like right before it gets out of this lyrical part. I bust into this crazy ass Reason shit that Jarrett kind of taught me how to use Reason, and we like fucked up this bass just little drop, and it's like on a real system, dude, it bangs right here. Yeah, this is a little Reason freak out mode. Well, this is ASR 10 drums, but then it comes in right here with the... I don't really remember if I played this or if Jared played the Reason part, but we like recorded it all and then edited it, so we chopped up our own like Reason freak out, you know. I need to get back into Reason though. I love that program.
And
shit's so fun. Jarrett was the one that put
like
me
I
onto
started
that.
out
I was like,
that.
you can just like plug like analog style, like plug
Yeah, I got it from Jarrett. It was
rearrange shit.
It was 3, and like I did a lot of shit in Reason 3, and I had it for a long time, and then I didn't have it. I stopped using it and for a while, and I think the next version that was available at the time was 6. So I bought Reason 6, and like I was completely lost. So I sent it back and like kept using what I was using at the time. I can't remember what it was. Pro Tools, I think. Yeah. But
yeah, I need to get that again now.
I got it for free for like a month and got all my old stuff back. Like bounced it down, everything, while it was free. It was like unlimited free version for 30 days, I think.
Oh, nice. And, what one are they on now? Like 11 or some shit?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I need to get Reason again. That's like the one I miss. And like from those days, like Jarrett had like every DAW. He had like everything, and we just experiment. Like he was way more. He was just like had studied those programs. I was more of like a sampler, hip-hop producer kid when I met him, and then he introduced me to all that shit. I was like, what the fuck? You can just like plug and play. Like you could be playing some shit and like digitally like rearranging all the plugins and shit. That shit was so fun, dude. Yeah, we used it on a couple of these songs, but yeah, like this one was just like all samples, and I played the piano part, but it sounds like Jarrett playing drums, but it's a sample from this band Auto Lux. I don't know if you guys remember Auto Lux, but I love Auto Lux. Yeah, they had a sick fucking drum. Like the drums were always so dope.
Carla's amazing.
Band. And so I took one of their breaks for this track and just chopped it the fuck up. And I was like, their drums are too good. Like, so I had to use that shit for. But yeah, man, I think this is the only one that no one plays on. Most of them have homies on, have guests, but yeah.
It's a trumpet by Kelly Hangour.
Oh yeah, that is Kelly. It's playing in the background. Yeah, Kelly Hangour. What up, Cal? Yeah, he played on a couple songs, and his brothers are all super talented musicians too. I think Patrick plays on Cool Fire Control, on the actual song Cool Fire Control from that record. Patrick Hanghour, what up? And yeah, like Zach Hanghour, all the Hanghours were really influential for me too, actually. The whole family is super talented. What up, Zach? What up, Brendan? But yeah, we were all kind of making weird shit. Like, I feel like those guys recorded up there a lot too, like different projects. But Lawrence was just like a hotbed for just really talented people. It still is, you know, but we were in a heyday because all these hip hop kids kind of just like sprung out of nowhere. Shit was awesome. It was definitely a heyday for hip hop back in the 2000s. But yeah, like these beats were kind of just beats that I didn't really know what to. I was like, it could be instrumental, but you could sing on it. It was a lot of stuff. Maybe I made for Archetype or Blackout Gorgeous, and then I didn't see how it fit with that, and I would just make some, you know, get Jarrett's opinion, see where it went. But like Dash was always around too, and he's such a musical genius. Like we always had access to like all you DJ not a DJ guys. Like you know, it was just cool. It was just a cool time. Like all this hang hours, the Range Life kids, and like like Adrian, and like yeah, like it was just like it always has been a hotbed for music there. But I miss that shit, man. I miss Lawrence for sure. So many good venues and outlets. Fucking KJ.
You were back. You were back for a little while.
Yeah, I got in there for a couple months, like while the fires, all the smoke and shit out here in the bay. I escaped back to Lawrence, man. That was dope. This song is kind of like a apocalyptic. It's like kind of about the end of the world, and like I was just like going through all this fucked up shit at the time, and it was like Bush was president. It was like the worst ever, and like I was like it applies to the Trump era too. But I was like in this darkness, like you knock my daylights out. Basically, it's like in this blue ruin, like in this horrible time, like. As long as I see this person that brings the sunshine, like I forget about all the like world's troubles, you know, like that was kind of like, it was like the world's ending, but as long as this person's in my life, like I think I'll be all right. That was kind of like the sentiment, and it applies today too. When I listen to this shit, I'm like, damn, I know, I feel that same way about certain people. I'm like, there's so much horrible shit happening, but as long as I got my people, you know, as long as I got like my homies to shed light on certain things, ideas, and share ideas, and just try to keep this shit going, you know, with my people. It's like I don't need to be famous or even get fucking rich off this shit. It'd be cool to be able to like make a living out of it, but whatever. Like I've been saying that my whole life. I've always had to have a job. It's like fuck it. Like I'll keep doing this shit no matter what.
That's for real, man.
You know, one day I'll get some license. Yeah, get a couple G's here and there from some licensing.
Yeah.
You know, the more we can just share our shit with each other and just try to, you know.
And you just gotta keep pushing forward, man. Being like yourself.
Make the connections bigger. Like keep, you know, spreading it all, spreading all the ideas, and that's what it's all about, you know. Like being in Cali, I feel like it's like, damn, I really do miss that camaraderie though, which is like the Lawrence small town, Kansas City vibes. Like all the homies would always be at the same shows, and it was just like when I moved here, it was like that all ended. Like I had like my built-in little crew, like MC Infinite and this producer beatboxer named Syzygy, who's like super sick beat maker too. But yeah, like back there we had like so much access to like just sick ass players, different musicians and different styles, and it's just like jazz and blues. And it's like Lawrence is such a hotbed, like Casey's such an epic place, man. I really do miss all that shit, like wholeheartedly, you know. Miss all the homies. But yeah, dude, that was fun. I was just blabbing. I hope I just wasn't fucking talking over the whole goddamn. It looks.
Man, we heard some great stuff, and like the way Howie edits it.
Yeah, there's some good stories in there and shit.
You'll hear a lot of the tracks, but that just gives people a reason to go actually. Like,
no, that's cool.
By the record now, man. Like, I listen to these tracks uninterrupted.
Yeah. I know, yeah. We and the thing is, like, I always feel like I'm way behind on releasing albums. It's like, as an artist, it's hard. Nowadays, it's way easier to be like, oh, this is done, bam, put it out. But like in the 2000s, it really was a lot different with everything back then. So it was kind of one of those. I'm glad it finally got put out, and I feel like it's still like really relevant to like my vibe and feeling of my outlook on the world has changed a little bit, but it's pretty much the same. Just like be good to everyone you can and spread love. That's pretty much like it's like I don't know. It's like nothing really is much different except I don't have like all those beautiful, talented people to collab with. It's just like the fucking pandemic, everything is internet. So I appreciate your reaching out to me on the internets, because I'm just in here like, did anyone hear that album? I don't even fucking know. Shit, I've been in this room making beats and shit. I don't even know if anyone heard it, but I'm glad you guys are feeling it.
Well, that's the idea behind it, man. It's just to kind of get together and like be able to discuss.
Yeah, it's
whatever.
Fun. I see.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the whole thing. I mean, it was a one-off. Nate and I just we did the first one to promote a record that we made.
That's sick.
And it was just going to be the one. Like, we weren't really thinking about starting a show or anything. And but we had Royce on, and we had so much fun. It was just like, well, we should try another one of these and see where it goes.
That's tight, dude. I love it. Well, I appreciate it. Yeah, it's been fun chatting with you guys.
And there will be a part 2 to this cool fire control.
Yeah, I'd love that. Got to get Jared on the line, because he's more of the technical wizard. I just shoot him ideas and he shoots them down if he doesn't like them. Luckily, he usually is into it, but yeah, I can't wait. That'll be fun, man. But yeah, check out the records and shout out Approach. He's a good dude that helped me kind of realize my potential as a lyricist and singer too. Like, he was always pushing me to do shit, and he arranged these 2 records. Approach was the one that I like gave him all these songs, and he was like, okay, you should either make it into 2 albums or make it 3 EPs. And I was like, okay, well, we'll see when the time comes, but will you just arrange it until then, like figure out how it works together? And so he's the one that made it kind of into like 2 albums. It was like 18 songs, I think, when it was finished. And he was kind of like, okay, this is 2 records. See how you, and it totally worked. How he's like a genius when it comes to like arranging albums. He sees things kind of like I do, like a movie, and it kind of like when he put it together, I was like, I made no adjustments. I was like, yeah, that's it. And so that's what became like the 2 records. So I'm glad we finally got to put it out and like put our names on it. Be like, remember we did that shit? Like, it finally came out, motherfucker. We finally got it out there. And since we've put out so many albums, but this was always on the back burner. So thanks, Datura. Thanks all those cats, man. The show.
So people can find it at nezbeat.bandcamp.com. That's NEZBEAT.bandcamp.com. Nez, where else can people find you? Either, streaming or social media? Or...
Oh, well, I'm always putting out new music on my SoundCloud, it's SoundCloud.com/Nezbeats with an S plural. And then, I'm sure you can just find me on any digital Apple or Google Play or whatever you use, Spotify. It's all on there. If you look up Nezbeat without an S, just NEZBEAT on any digital platform, you'll see it. And also, what else? Nezbeat, Bandcamp, SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple. It's all on there. You should be able to find most of that shit. And if not YouTube, you can always find like some of the records that maybe we made like a 4-year deal with like whichever distribution company. Like for instance, me and Nomi Superstar had this record that came out. It was out from 2016 until last year, and then it got pulled because I guess unbeknownst to me, we made a 4-year contract or something. So like it's not even up on any of the shit anymore. But it's kind of cool because it was like exclusive. Like you could have bought it if you were in the know, but if you want to hit me up, like just email me, I'll send it to you. But I think it's still on YouTube. It's called First Contact. That's like my newest collaboration album. It's with this South African singer who I adore, and like we're working on some new shit. So yeah, if you just Spotify or Apple Music my name, you'll usually find my newest shit. But if not, check out YouTube.
Sounds good, and we'll see you back soon for the other half of this sort of double album, Cool Fire Control.
I look forward to it. Thank you guys for your time.
Cool. Later, Nez.
Thank you for your time, man.
Peace.
Bye.
Bye.